Yeah, so that happened.
Look down, you're talking to your highness. Can't see me, I'm the reason for your blindness. They tried this, but I'm too classy for your lines. Got my double cups up.
Because I'm a lady, that's why.
Hey guys, it's Blaize, and I had a poll on my Facebook page last night. If you are not, please go and join me on all of my social medias. They're always linked down below. I asked you if you guys would like to see a Smash or Pass True Blood edition or a story time today. I'm going to be doing both, but I wanted to know which one you guys want to see first, and you guys chose story time, so today is story time. Now you're going to see me shaking a lot in this story time, and I did put a trigger warning ahead of time. If you are very this word right here, prone to having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and if you have phobias like that and seeing other people panic or hear other people's anxieties, or if you have phobias of the doctors or dentists or whatever like that, maybe this isn't the video for you. So but if you want to still watch, I gave you that warning, so I won't feel bad if I did it so you guys don't have to feel what I feel. And I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I just woke up, so let's do this. Before we get into it, I got this hat for free because I do live in Colorado, and I got it at a store on 4/20 on April 20th, so Colorado life. Anyway, I don't like this experience. So a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago, something like that, Shane Dawson, a famous YouTuber, one of the most famous YouTubers in the world, I'm sure you guys, if you guys are into YouTube, know Shane Dawson. He did one of his videos on anesthesia awareness, and he was basically talking about what happens and what that's like. It wasn't his personal experience because it didn't happen to him. He was just talking about the phenomenon known as anesthesia awareness. When the movie Awake came out with Hayden Christensen and Jessica Alba back in 2007, I think, or 2008, something like that, I was like friggin' terrified. I was like, that is one of my worst phobias, is to be in surgery and be awake at the same time and not being able to move. I know I've mentioned several times before, but if you're new, I do suffer from sleep paralysis. Very, very severe sleep paralysis, and it is the most frightening, horrific thing to be stuck in because your body is still asleep, but your mind is awake. So you are completely paralyzed except for your thoughts. You want to scream for somebody to help move you, or to come and just tap you and wake your body up, but you are stuck. And even if it's like 5 minutes, it makes it feel more like 5 hours, and you can't do anything besides panic. And slowly over the years, it's always getting worse. But what I would suggest, if you also suffer from sleep paralysis, we'll do a Kill Bill quote. Wiggle your big toe. Start from your toes, try moving from your toes and work your way up. But that's not what we are discussing, but that's why that movie scared me so much. The concept of that movie, I love the movie, but the concept scared the shit out of me because one of my worst fears is being awake during surgery. Fast forward to almost exactly 2 years ago. Almost exactly 2 years ago. It was April 2015. I had a oral surgery that needed to be done. I don't remember exactly what it was because I've had so much oral surgery. The year prior to this, I had to get a wisdom tooth taken out, and they had to put me to sleep. Now, my resistance to medications is extremely high. So the first oral surgeon that I went to, who was taking out my wisdom tooth, went out to my parents and saying, look, Blaize is taking a really long time, you know, falling asleep. They actually quadrupled the dosage of medication they were giving me because I was not falling asleep. Apparently I was talking and getting up and they were trying to place me back down. I don't remember any of it. This is just what they told me. So I have a very high tolerance in my body for most medications. So back to the surgery from April 2015. There was going to be work done on 2 of my teeth near the back of my mouth. Again, I think it was not really major surgery, but it was pretty bad. And they said it was going to take about an hour long to do. So they said if I wanted, I could stay awake, but they would, you know, recommend that I be put to sleep. Now, I've been put to sleep before, like I said, with this other oral surgeon, and when I had to have my emergency gallbladder removal, then I was put to sleep like completely. I was out. But they told me, but they didn't have their own anesthesiologist at this place. So they said that it was going to cost me and my family over $1,000 to bring in an anesthesiologist that they work with at a hospital. Now, I am highly phobic of the dentist. Okay. I am highly phobic of the dentist because I don't like being leaned back. I don't like things being shoved in my mouth and, you know, I don't like it. I'm phobic of it. I would rather have every tooth rot out of my head before I go to a dentist. I can't stand it. It's not like, oh, I just hate the dentist. No, I'm terrified of the dentist, and this just made me even more terrified. So it comes the day of surgery, and they bring in the anesthesiologist, this man, and he was explaining, you know, what medicines he was going to be putting in me, along with the anesthesia. It was going to be very light anesthesia, but it was going to put me out. He also gave me Valium, which does absolutely nothing to me because I've had Valium so many times in my life. I'm prescribed Valium, so that does nothing to me. Propofol, which is one of the drugs, well, pretty much the drug that killed Michael Jackson. So, and along with a few others, I don't remember their names, but also light anesthesia. And they told me and my parents, all 3 of us, that I was going to be 100% asleep when this was going on. So, time for the surgery. They were starting to lean me back, and, you know, they were just telling me just to, you know, relax everything and just think of where I'd rather be, which was in my bedroom. And, you know, they were just telling me just to calm down and let the medicines, you know, kick in and everything, and that's what I was trying to do. So I was laying back, taking some deep breaths. I felt myself getting a little bit tired, but nothing major. Like the other few times I've been put to sleep, I felt it just like, whoosh, just completely. But I felt kind of like they just gave me a sedative, which again does nothing for me really. And so they start talking to each other. There was a nurse there and the oral surgeon and the anesthesiologist. So I hear them talking to each other and they start going into my mouth. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not asleep yet. Don't do anything yet. I'm still awake. And they heard me. I know that they heard me because they responded to me. I don't remember what their response was. I believe they were just trying to, you know, pat me and just like, just relax. I was like, wait a minute. I was supposed to be put to sleep. We paid like almost $2,000 so I would be put to sleep. I'm not asleep. I'm awake. And I know that they heard me say that. So I'm hearing everything that is going on around me. I can smell the drill. I can smell the drill going into my teeth. I heard every word that was going on. I heard them say, put a little bit more anesthesia in her. She's waking up a little bit. And I was like, finally, after a while, I was just like, and I can smell the dentist's office. I was looking up at the ceiling. I was trying to count how many tiles there were. I can hear the sounds and the pressure of everything that was going on, and inside I was screaming. I was like, please put me to sleep. And apparently they thought I was asleep. Now, I've talked about this once on my channel, that I take a medication that paralyzes my throat sometimes, so it makes it very hard for me to eat because my throat literally paralyzes, and it's only for a few seconds, but for when I'm swallowing, I'll start choking. So I was laying back, and this is another reason why I was phobic of the dentist, is the fear of choking. I tasted the blood, I tasted whatever they were putting in my mouth, and it was dripping down my throat, and I got up because I was choking, and they just shoved me right back onto the seat. And I'm pretty sure they were aware that I was not fully under, because they were talking to me, and they were not acting like I was asleep, except for one time. The receptionist came in to the room after an hour and a half, because this procedure was only supposed to be an hour, and the receptionist said, the parents are asking if everything's okay, and what should I tell them? And I was trying to say, tell them that I'm awake, but nothing was coming out. It was more like a thought. I was like screaming, a screaming thought, or like I was speaking and no one was hearing me. And they were like, tell them that she is completely out. Tell them that she is 100% asleep. She's doing great. We'll be probably about another hour. And I'm like, another hour? Are you kidding me? And I'm not asleep. I am awake. And just like when you were dreaming, it feels like forever. I was under for 2.5 hours. It felt like 2.5 freaking days that I was under. It was horrifying. I couldn't believe what was happening. This was me internally. I was just laying there saying, okay, they're not hearing me. They think that I'm asleep, maybe. I can't speak because I'm paralyzed and there's tons of stuff in my mouth. There was anesthesia in me, so my body was not really able to move, except for the few reactions that I had when I was physically choking. My body naturally wants to sit up and try to get whatever is choking me out of my throat. So 2.5 to 3 hours later, I hear them say, all right, stop the medicines, wake her up. And I'm already awake. And they're like, okay, Blaize, how are you feeling? How are you doing? You did great. And I was like, I wasn't asleep. I was awake. And they were like, no, you weren't. You were asleep. We had you under anesthesia and many other medications. You were asleep. I was like, then how do I know that you said this to your receptionist? You were saying this to your nurse. You were saying this to the anesthesiologist. How do I know what this smelled like, what this tasted like? How do you explain that I know everything that was going on, but I was asleep? No, I wasn't. Then, to save their asses, they came at me and said, oh, well, I guess you weren't supposed to be asleep. I guess this was just supposed to be sedation, not putting you to sleep. Bitch. We paid almost $2,000 for this anesthesiologist to knock me out completely. Don't run your mouth saying that, oh, well, we didn't mean to, you weren't supposed to go to sleep. Yes, I was, and you told us several times that I was going to be put to sleep, and you even told the receptionist to tell my parents that I was completely under and asleep. So my mother comes in, and they come in with a wheelchair to wheel me out because I was under. And of course they never said this to my parents, either of them. They never told my parents, oh, we weren't supposed to put her under. We were just supposed to sedate her. They told them over and over, when I tried saying, they said that I wasn't supposed to be put completely under. And they were like, oh, we never said that. So they came in with my mother and the wheelchair, and I said to them, I'll show you how awake and aware I am. And I got up off the chair and I walked in a straight line right out of the office with no blurry vision, no like, oh, wobbly. I just walked in a straight line completely out of the office, 100% fine. They said they'd never seen anything like that. Like, everybody's always needed a wheelchair or at least somebody to hold them up by their arms. They've never seen somebody just walk straight out of the office. And so when I come back in and I was, you know, telling my mom everything, and my mom was questioning them, they were like, well, maybe the thing is we put her to sleep, but she wasn't asleep. And we were like, so what does that mean? What do you mean that you put me to sleep but I wasn't asleep? Well, you have a high tolerance for medication in your blood, so we put the anesthesia and all these medications in you, but you were aware of the situation and aware of what was going on. And at this time, I had no idea that there was a name to it. I did not know it was called anesthesia awareness. But because they never labeled that, but they basically explained that that was what had happened. That they had put me completely under, because they kept changing their story from left to right to me to my mom, everybody. But this was their final thing. Look, we tried to put you under, you were under, but your mind was not. Your body was under, but your mind was still going. If you saw on the monitors that I was still awake, why didn't you pump me more to put me to sleep? I have been in a paralyzed hell for 3 hours, which felt like 3 days. And they had no excuse for it. There was no I'm sorries. There was no we should have listened to you at first when you said, listen, I'm not asleep. You know, and like, well, we feel terrible, you know, that's a horrible situation, that's terrifying. Nothing. They just wanted to save their own asses. Needless to say, I never went back to that oral surgeon ever again, and I never will. The other oral surgeon that I went to, also this in 2016, if you will remember, I had oral surgery on this side, taking out a wisdom tooth, and he messed up. The oral surgeon messed up. I was not under for this because he told me it was going to be 5 minutes. I was in there for over an hour, and they perforated my sinus canal, and he had to do stitches because he messed up. He done messed up, and he didn't want to admit that he messed up or that it was a mistake. He never said he was sorry because he's a doctor or a dentist. They never are going to apologize for any mistakes that they have done because they don't like to, doctors can't make mistakes. They don't make mistakes. So to this day, I still have so many problems with my sinuses, and the oral surgeon said that I'm going to have problems with my sinuses for the rest of my life because they're perforated. I was like, oh, awesome. And that was a whole nother horror story. But this video was supposed to talk about just this I was awake, okay? I was awake during surgery. I was not asleep in the slightest. I smelled everything. I heard everything. I felt everything. I didn't feel so much pain as I did pressure and just sharp, but not like, oh my God, I feel the pain, you know, because there was numbing agent in me. But everything, I can feel like I felt myself grabbing onto my pants, but I don't even know if I really was grabbing onto my pants because maybe it was in my head I was grabbing onto my pants because my body was paralyzed. So I don't exactly know what happened, but basically they explained it as anesthesia awareness. So that is this horribly horrific, to me, terrifying story time. So if you guys have any more questions or comments, please leave them down below. Unless they're nasty or rude, you'll be reported, like always. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you would be so kind to go below, hit that subscribe button. It's a red button. It says subscribe, and subscribe right now because I always have free monthly beauty giveaways, contests, and raffles, all free 100% of the time they are not sponsored. They go directly from my pocket and give directly to you. I have at least one going on a month. I'm going to be having one going on in the beginning of May, so keep your eyes open for that. If you guys like my story times, I have a few of them that I would like to get out there. Some of them I don't want out in public. You're just gonna have to respect a little bit of privacy that I do have. But if you guys like my story times, give this video a thumbs up and let me know down below if you want me to do more. Did anything like this ever happen to any of you? Any similar situations? Let me know, because I'd love to know that I know I'm not the only one. It's happened to a lot of people, actually. I believe 1 in every 700 people it happens to, so that's a lot of freaking people. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias, and I will talk to you guys as soon as possible. So until next time, stay wicked.